Happy New Year, everyone. It is officially 2021, and I am so excited for all of the potential of the future. Here's the thing, if your loved one is in addiction or even in early recovery, you may notice that they're acting a little funky and maybe even a little depressed. And I will help explain one of the main reasons as to why that would be. And the biggest reason is that whenever we, especially in active addiction or in early recovery, are forced to reflect on the past or think about our future, and that's an and or, it can be a real trial for us because when we look at the past, we think about all of the mistakes that we have made, the lack of accomplishments, how screwed up. Basically, we are forced to face ourselves. And that's not always a pretty sight. And they may not be so inclined to admit that to you. And maybe they don't know how to communicate that, but that is what's happening with them is that they are really having to face some harsh realities about the way that they are choosing to live their life. And that can be a really positive thing, and it can also be a really negative thing because if they start spiraling out of control, you can maybe see that they are using a lot more. They may be more depressed than normal. We really do struggle. And here's the other thing, that's from the past perspective, but then we also have to look towards the future. And many times when we are in our addiction or even in early recovery, we often don't think that we have much of a future, or we don't think that we're capable of getting the future that we so desire for ourselves. And so, one of the main things that we can do to support people that we love during this time is to really fill them with a lot of confidence. Because I don't know about you, but for me, even though I have a lot of time clean, and maybe you don't even have a substance abuse issues, but we even have a hard time really looking at the positive and the accomplishments that we made this year. I actually had to have a lot of help. And when I was left to my own devices, my list was like this big. When I got help in terms of realizing all of my accomplishments that I actually made this year, my list went to like this big. I was like, man, I really did a lot this year. And so, one of the things that we can really help with our loved ones, if they are still struggling, is to really fill them with a lot of accomplishment. Show them that they actually did do a lot more than they think that they did, and maybe it was a messy year for them. It could have been a disaster. They could have done some really crazy things because I know this virus thing has us going crazy anyway. But if we can touch a lot of the positive, even if it's small, any small little thing. Hey, you went to jail this year, but you know what? You got yourself out of jail. That's a big deal. Things like that. Hey, you know what? You stole from me 20 times the previous year, and you only stole from me like 5 times this year. We are progressing in our ability to get better. So things like that. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but that's where we have to go because they need to see their confidence. They need to see their accomplishments. They need to know that they are worth the future that we want for them. And the only way they're going to do that is that they can see that they are worth it, that they are loved, and that they can do it. And that's the biggest thing. So if your loved one is acting really weird, it's really normal, but these are the things that we can do to really, really help. And sometimes allowing and touching the positive in them will actually force them to take even a harder look and may even become desperate enough to get the help that they so desperately need. And we can do that in a positive way where we're filling them with confidence as opposed to shame and judgment. And that can make the difference between someone getting the help that they need or pushing someone away. So, anyway, I hope everyone has a great start of the year. And I hope this was really helpful. And if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. You can just shoot me an email, Jennifer at ManiliConsulting.com. And I hope you have a great New Year's.